Welcome to Salvation by Grace, a broadcast ministry of Grace Christian Assembly, a Sovereign Grace Fellowship in Smyrna, Tennessee. For more information, we invite you to visit our website at www.salvationbygrace.org. Now let's join our teacher, Jim McClarty.
And yet you can go to church after church after church after church that'll never tell you about it. Afraid to talk about the rapture for some reason. I'm sorry to bring this up again, but I felt like somebody punched me in the stomach last week when you said, I've never read that. And I thought, think of how you've been cheated. That you've grown up in the church and no one has ever taught you the thing that Paul would call the blessed hope. That Christ is coming back to get you. And that you will one day instantaneously change, whether rising up out of your grave or whether alive and changing. You are going to be caught up into the clouds. You're going to see him. You're going to hear the shout. Now, one of the criticisms against there are a lot of folk out there that want to criticize the notion of the rapture, despite that kind of language. You know, you can't get rid of that kind of language. First, they mischaracterize the rapture by creating a straw man that they call the secret rapture. You'll hear that language a lot. The Bible never says secret rapture. They'll say, it's a secret rapture. The rapturists will tell you that it's some kind of secret rapture. And then they'll say, but look, it's a really loud thing. There's a shout, and there's an archangel, and there's a trumpet. It sounds like a very big, noisy thing. How can it be a secret? I have a book at home that this is the actual argument of the book.
What was the answer? What was their answer?
Well, he's trying to say that there is no such thing as a rapture. They're trying to disprove the rapture. And they're saying that we who are rapturists, that's what they call us, I call us biblicists, that we're creating this fairy tale of the church being caught away, you know, up into the sky before there's a time of trouble, and that the really violently opposed ones, of which there are plenty out on like the internet, say that we are deceiving the church by giving them a false sense of security and hope. And, you know, this escapist theology that says that you're going to escape when the world gets really bad. And then their argument will be earlier generations of the church didn't escape. You know, they were fed to lions and cut apart. What makes you think you're going to escape? You know, those kind of arguments. But it never has to do with the text. It's never exegetical. It's never textual. They never say, well, the text says this, but it really means this because the language says this. It's just always setting up straw men, knocking them down, and then thinking that they've accomplished something, but they haven't. Because the language really does say what it says. And the argument's going to continue into chapter 5, so we're going to get into that. What I want you to understand is that when Jesus spoke to Paul was traveling with a company of people. A bright light shone from heaven, and a voice said, Saul, Saul, why do you persecute me? And it said that the people who were traveling with him said, it thundered. But Paul heard, Saul, Saul, why do you persecute me? Was God able to speak to just Paul out of a company of people and say it loudly enough that it got Paul's attention? Absolutely. Sure. Can he blow a trumpet and shout from heaven and have only the people he means to have hear it? Yeah, absolutely. Can he call out to his people and take them to heaven without the whole world hearing it? Well, he keeps proving that he can. He did it time and time again. Do you understand my point? So don't let the silly arguments throw you off from what the text really says. Stick to the text. And that's, every once in a while when I get really angry with some of these folks, I will write to them and say, you know, and your textual evidence would be, you know, because it's not there. Yes, ma'am.
Well, the other thing that always, you know, I think about when I think about the rapture and stuff like this that seems kind of out there, like the mark of the beast. You know, you think, okay, we're all gonna have a mark, yeah, right, or something like that. Yeah. But I mean, in today's world,
do you understand that for roughly 3,000 years before Jesus walked the planet, though, there was scripture that said God's going to become a man?
Yeah.
And the God of ages is going to live in the womb of a little Jewish virgin. The God who made everything is going to be born and be a baby. That's outrageous, you know. And people walked around going, yeah, and then it happened. So no matter how far-fetched or difficult these things seem, we have this long history of God doing really far-fetched, difficult things to prove to us that he's going to do the rest of it. I'm always amazed by people who will say, yes, I agree that Jesus lived and was a man and died and resurrected and went up to heaven. But none of the rest of that is true. What? Wait, You got to spiritualize the rest of it. It can't really happen. Well, of course it can all happen. It happened the first time. Under unbelievable circumstances, it happened the first time. So All right, so from that point, comfort one another with these words. Paul then, starting in chapter 5, says, "But of the times and the seasons, brethren, you have no need that I write to you." Two words there that you need to know. The word times there is a Greek term chronos, from which we get chronology, chronograph, any of those words having to do with time. If we talk about setting up a chronology, we're saying things happened in a timely order. So the first thing he says is, you don't need me to tell you the proper order that these things are going to occur in. And the word season is kairos, which denotes a specific moment in time in which a specific thing is ordained to happen. So he said, we're now going to talk about the order of events and the specific time when events happen. That's helpful.
No, he didn't say that. He said,
Well, what he says, you don't need that I write to you because you already know these things, but now he's going to start making references to what they already know. But of the chronos and the kairos, brethren, you have no need that I write unto you, because you yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord comes as a thief in the night. That's what we were just talking about, right, Leanne? You know that the day of the Lord comes as a thief in the night. Well, we know that. We've been establishing that for months now. The day of the Lord comes as a thief in the night. Now he's going to describe what he means by that phrase. For when they, and by the way, start paying attention to Paul's use of we and they language, because he's going to set up two groups here, and he's going to say, they will do this, we will do this. They is the world, we are the believers. For when they say peace and safety, then sudden destruction will come upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. Now that leads you automatically back to Jeremiah, where he said, a time of trouble was coming on the world, such as never was or ever would be again. And he said, I saw all men walking around doubled over, holding their sides like a woman in travail to give birth. Same language Jeremiah used. Paul picks it up here because he is a Jew, well-versed in Old Testament theology, eschatology, and language. So he picks up that same language and says, now look, you know that the day of the Lord comes as a thief in the night. It'll be sudden destruction at a time when they're all saying peace and safety. And it'll be like travail of a woman trying to give birth. Verse 4, but you, brethren, see the contrast? They, and they will not escape. But, now he's setting up a contrast, but you, now he's talking to a different group, the Thessalonians, the ones he's writing to, the church, the elect of God. But you are not in darkness, that day should overtake you as a thief.
wouldn't they be gone?
Precisely.
Oh, okay.
Yes, exactly. They would be gone. So that day would not come on them as a thief in the night. So the next time you hear somebody say that the rapture is like a thief in the night, say, well, no, actually it comes on them as a thief in the night. And it's the day of the Lord that comes on them as a thief in the night, because they will be busy saying peace and safety, trying to create their own world peace through wars and political machinations. And when they think they finally got it settled and they've got some peace and safety, then comes sudden destruction on them, and they will not escape. But you, brethren, are not in the dark.
On behalf of everyone at Grace Christian Assembly, we thank you for listening to this week's Salvation by Grace message. Remember to visit us on the internet at www.salvationbygrace.org. And we invite you to join us next time when we gather around the Word and study the sovereign grace of God.